You're live?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, and thank you. Thank you for joining us for this segment of Trophy of Life, which is a nonprofit organization, and our president and CEO is Miss Portia Wheatley. So, Trophy of Life is identified as the action of hope and encouragement. And we use this platform to share hope and encouragement across the entire world. And I know this personally because we've been doing this for 20 plus years. If you would like to uh, visit any of the previous videos that we've done, please check out our YouTube page, which is Portia Wheatley Trophy of Life. So this is a great topic that we're sharing on tonight. It is about your purpose, your kingdom assignment, and your contribution. And let me say it again, because that just the ring of it it excites me. Your purpose, your kingdom assignment, and your contribution. So, with that being said, we have a special guest tonight, and her name is Miss Seanté Hunt. Miss Seanté, good evening. Good evening. And how are you? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. I'm doing,
Did you have a good day?
I did. I did. I did.
Good.
Thanks for asking, and I hope you did too.
I did. I did. I'm excited to get started. We're going to talk a little bit about um, your purpose, your kingdom assignment, and your contribution to those you impact. I've spoken with you. I've known you for a long time. I've seen you evolve, and I've seen what uh, has transpired. I'm excited to hear from you. I'm going to read a little bit of your bio, and then I'm going to put it in your hands, and we'll just dialogue. We're just going to slow down, and we're going to talk, and we're just going to hear how this thing ignited in you, and how you are now causing it to ignite in those you uh, imprint and impact, if you will. So let's start here. Miss Seanté is a counselor of 34 years and now CEO of the Imprint Impact. And I see here your purpose. Let's talk about that. Your purpose is to help women and girls overcome emotional imprints from the past to live with self confidence and self worth. I'm already excited. Seeing themselves and the treasures they are. Let's start right there. Your purpose. How did this even happen?
You know, most things start in childhood. When you go back and you take an assessment of where you were and how far you've come. And in looking back at that time period in my life, I remember there was a time when, I just didn't feel, I felt unpretty. I felt unpretty. I had glasses. I had a gap in my front teeth. I actually had one tooth that was kind of turned to the side as well. And, during that time, just being young, growing up, you find yourself with a peer groups and people that may influence you in different ways. And, all of the girls were with the little boys,
Mhm.
and I decided to do the same at a very young age, a very impressionable age. And that feeling just made me feel unworthy, filled with guilt, filled with shame. And I was raised in the church, I knew better. I
Mhm.
knew better. But we all have fallen short of the glory of God, but praise God for his grace and his mercy.
Yes.
But I just remember that feeling, that low self-esteem, not feeling confident, not feeling pretty, not feeling adored. And carried through my 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. And it's my goal and my purpose to say, hey, you don't have to wait until you get to be this age in
Yeah.
order to lift yourself up, in order to feel beautiful in order to see yourself as God sees you. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have to wait this long. You can make better decisions now at the age you are by knowing Him and letting yourself see you as He sees you because He is our Abba Father. And I just would love to continue to work with girls to just impart upon them the beauty that is within them,
Mm-hmm.
that they don't have to, look to another for validation,
Mm-hmm.
but that they have it within themselves and, of course, with God.
That's so good. So what age did you, now I know you said your teens and then your 20s and 30s, 40s. What age did, now you said you grew up in church, but when did it start to really ignite in you that I'm better than this, or there's more to me than this, or um, because there's a foundation. I hear a foundation there. Because remember, and we'll talk about it, or you can kind of bring it in some way that there was a lot of the girls, or some of the girls that you encounter won't have that foundation. How do
Mhm.
you plan to get it, to get them to hear it? Like, so let's keep talking.
Sure. I just want to say that there's oftentimes a dichotomy. You know, like I said, you were raised in the church. However, you had these actions and these activities and falling into maybe some sinful activities. However, there was also a thing of I'm quite smart. I knew that I did well in school. I had intellectual capabilities and understanding. I had good logic and understanding. However, yet again, on the other hand,
Mm-hmm,
I fell prey to what the world was doing.
mm-hmm,
Also, even in me having felt low self-esteem, no one would have probably known it.
mm-hmm,
I speak to people from high school all the time, and they're like, Shawnee, everybody loved you. What do you mean you didn't feel, like you had friends? Or I was the president of my modeling club in school. I took modeling and etiquette at Flair Studios when I was 14 years old. I modeled, I looked the part. And that's oftentimes what happens. We look apart, but there's so much going on inside, and there's a whole lot more that I could say that I won't say here on this platform. But when I go to the girls, I want to share my deepest experiences, to share me authentically, to give them my personal life story.
mm-hmm.
In the raw,
Yeah.
to say this is where I misstepped.
Mm-hmm.
You do not have to go this path.
You want to be more transparent with them.
Much more transparent. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I feel that a lot of times people think kids can't handle things or that, oh, they don't need to know all of that.
Mm-hmm,
However, but when I think you speak the truth, and that's what I've done with my kids, I told them where I felt when I was younger. You don't have to go this route. You don't have to go this path. Mommy already did it. You can learn vicariously through me to not repeat the same things. And then as a parent, of course, I wanted to constantly instill confidence in my kids by telling them you are loved every day, by hugging them, by saying you look beautiful. I love your hair. That's a nice outfit. Oftentimes people don't hear these things. So
yeah.
I want to love on these girls to let them know what anybody says about you. You are beautiful because you are made in God's image and
Yeah.
you are the apple of his eye. So I want to constantly affirm them, you know, just so that they can hear it over and over and over again, to practice what the word says. I'm strong, I'm beautiful, I'm never alone, I'm courageous, I'm his masterpiece. I have a purpose. I'm a child of God. Repeat it, say it again. Because even me, who knows all these things in my head, I didn't always do them. I
Mm-hmm,
didn't always do them, but I played the part and I showed up and I performed in a certain way that led people to maybe believe that I was bougie or I was stuck up or I had it all together. And little did they know,
yeah.
I did not. I
So,
did not.
so you were struggling within your members, and
Absolutely.
nobody knew. And that's a lot of that's going on right now. A
Yeah.
lot of the girls, because you're saying I was unpretty, but this, I'm sure people telling you all the time, Shantae, you're beautiful. Shantae, you're beautiful. But I didn't feel it. And until I know it and I feel it,
Yeah.
I understand. So your
Absolutely.
purpose here
Mhm.
is that I know what I went through. I don't want
Yeah.
them to go through that. You know,
No.
that old saying is that we want people to learn from our mistakes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, people don't always learn from our mistakes. They have to touch that
Right.
stove to see if it's hot for themselves. That's the scary part. Go ahead. Go ahead.
They can still say, but God, I'm here now. But God, I slipped. I made a mistake. I want to turn back. I want to do something different. Because I touched the stove. I got saved at 17, but I still kept having those relationships until I was what, 25 when I met my husband? You know what I mean? So, yes, but we have his grace, but there's also repentance, and we also need to come to the reality that we've misstepped, and ask for forgiveness. And he is there to catch us when we fall. He is there.
What I love about you is that I see you keep going back to the saving grace of God.
Yes.
And that's because you had that foundation. Again, many of the girls that you run into, especially because a lot of our young girls are um, children of younger parents, so they
Mhm.
might not always have that foundation. So get them quick, Shantae, get them quick. So let's move on. Let's move a little quick. So I see we talked about your purpose. I want to know um, the as the fire was igniting, and give me a little bit more about your background, or when you met your husband, or when you felt the stirring up of like even family dynamics that caused all of this to really
Sure.
happen.
Absolutely. I am the child of teenage parents. So we grew up together, is what I always say. We grew up together. As they were navigating adulthood, I was kind of right along there with them. So I did see them in multiple relationships. So I saw it as a normal thing to do. Hey, my parents are out there dating, I'm going to be out there and do the same thing. You know, and in addition to that, seeing some instances of domestic violence, some instances of substance abuse, and those things just made a deep impression upon me, to where I think I went more into myself, more introverted, um, and just trying to make a vow that that wouldn't be me. However, in one of my relationships, I found myself, in a physical abuse situation. Um, thank God I've never, gotten into the substance abuse aspect. Thank God, bro, probably because of my background. I'm a substance abuse counselor by trade, have been for 34 years. So I
Mm.
understood the damage and the dangers. But I know I met my husband. He's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful man. Praise
Mm.
God. I say he was God picked for me. Both
Yeah.
of us were out one day with friends. Neither one of us wanted to be there, but God saw that we met, and
Mm.
we've been happily married for 30 years.
Okay.
However, he has seen me struggle with self-esteem even throughout our marriage. He's always like, Sean, if I was so bright like you and had these skills, you can do so much. And I think you're beautiful and all of those things. But like you say, Marie, until you really feel it within. So for me to help me, I had to help other people. So
Oh,
in 2011, when we were really going through a financial period of hardship, and God was like, I need you to work with girls. And I'm going to show you a piece of paper of how old it is because I typed it on a computer that broke many years ago, but I printed it out, and you see how raggedy it is on the edge. That's how old this paper is. So in 2011, he gave me Heal Ministries, is what it was called. And it was called His Elegant Anointed Ladies. his elegant anointed ladies.
Mhm.
And I started this process really at my kitchen table with
Mhm.
my daughter, with my nieces, because I wanted to just give them anything that would help them to be great. You
Mhm.
know, just like I need you to be great because sometimes I don't feel so great.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, sometimes I stumble, sometimes I fall, sometimes I don't see God the way I want to, he sees me. So he gave me that. Then he gave me, and he has another little raggedy paper with all brown up on the side. He gave me something called Gems and Jewels, and it was Girls Empowered Manifest Success. And Jules was justly equipped with effective life skills. So God has been talking to me about this
Wow.
for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I just kept sitting on it because, again, I got low self esteem, right? I don't think I'm all that, or I don't think I'm the greatest, or who wants to hear from you? You just little Shawnee from Smallwood and Baker. You know what I mean? And God says, no, I need you to do some things for me. And last year, I went through a coaching program. But before I tell you that, in 2016, I also did a conference call called Girl Talk with Aunt Shawnee, because, I'm Aunt Shawnee. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you know what gets me things. And he in a coaching program, or he led me to a coaching program last year, life coaching for business builders. And I have to give a shout out to Dr. Marcia Whitaker. She is awesome. And she has led me through taking my story and taking my pain and turning it into a platform. And
Mhm.
that I'm here today,
Yeah.
because I stepped out on faith. I just said, God, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I don't know how I'm gonna get through this program, but you know that you're gonna make a way. And he did. And as a result of that, I came up with the Imprint Impact
Mhm.
again because I've even written my own book that I haven't published yet. It's still sitting in my computer. What is going on with me? And it's called Imprints That Remain, Snapshots from the Past That Still Haunt Me. Because there are things that happen in our lives when we're younger, and they definitely, definitely impact how we act, how we behave, and how we perform
Mhm.
when we become adults. So here I am, the
Mhm.
imprint. In fact, that's where I am today,
So I want to.
helping young girls to do better, self-worth, self-value, confidence.
I love it, Seanté. I love it, and I love the fact that you have a paper trail,
Yeah.
a paper trail of when God and how long God has been speaking to you. Nothing wasted, nothing lost, because you're going to use all of it. I always say this: time and purpose have to come together. So, had you started it back then, it might not have been what it is today, and this, whatever, So everything is purpose driven, everything is God designed. So talk to me about your kingdom assignment. What's your assignment? I hear how you're gonna your purpose. Like I want to, I know what I've been through, I know what I've seen, I know how what I've been through impacted me, and what I want to do to offset that for others, right? That's my purpose. That's the reason why I'm here today. What's your kingdom assignment?
My kingdom assignment is to, especially, I deal with, you know, some emotional dysfunction, which has led me down paths of anxiety and depression in the past.
Mhm.
And, I praise God for good therapists. Jesus plus therapy. That's what they say, right? Jesus first plus therapy, and
Yes.
he'll make all things good and all things right. So, what I have done and what is in the works and what will be coming out soon is, and I'm going to show you my little, oh, I have this background, so it's a little hard to see, but it's called Hey Little Brown Girl.
Hmm.
And it's based on just emotions that we go through. And instead of getting tripped up, what are we going to do? We're going to go to God.
Hmm.
If I'm sad, I'm going to go to God and he's going to give me the answer. If I'm even just bored, and I don't know what to do, God has the answer.
Yeah.
If I'm crying, if I'm angry, there's a word for that. And the book just takes each, little girl through whatever she's dealing with in that particular scene and gives her hope and gives her inspiration. And in the end, like there's an adult telling her what to do, but in the end of the book, she starts telling herself what to do. Like, hey, I feel happy. I feel joy because God is there to supply it for me.
Yes. Yes.
So that is where I am, and it's in the works.
Yeah.
Looking forward to in Amazon
Do
soon.
you have,
But that's
let
mhm.
me let me jump in. Do you have affirmations in that in your book? Like the little girl, the lady, like are they because you said she starts to speak to herself, and in a little while ago you were talking about you having to just talk to yourself, and you have practiced, I see, affirmation, like really saying who I am, who God said I am, and speaking it out loud even. So that's a practice that you'll be sharing with it. the, the, Let me ask you this question. I know I'm two questions, I think, but what's your age group, what's your age dynamic for the girls?
I think I could definitely run the gamut from probably 6 to 18, but my focus is really like more so 12 to 18.
Mhm.
Um, because
Mhm.
I know that's kind of when I began to lose my way. So 12 to 18 is my special area. Yes. And, basically, my approach is healing the root, not just the surface, you know? So I want them to be able to identify where any self-doubt maybe started. What was that thing that happened that maybe created that? And then replace all the lies with truth,
Mhm.
God's truth, because Satan will just continually tell us lies. I tell him shut up all day long. He still tries to get in my
Yeah.
head,
Yeah.
and I'm like, not today,
Hmm.
not
Hmm.
today.
And also identifying, and I'm sure you'll put this in as a part of your practice, identifying triggers. Triggers are a big deal. Even uh, six on up to however old we are right now, triggers are a big deal. So
Absolutely. There's
I,
always something that will take you back. And,
yeah,
I am also the marriage ministry facilitator at Kingdom Worship Center along with my husband. And oftentimes I'll even say to the couples, you have to ask during a certain situation that may come up between the two of you, who am I talking to? Is this the 5-year-old Shawnee? Is this the 13-year-old Shawnee? Is this the 25-year-old Shawnee? At what point, what age am I talking to right now? Because like you said, something has triggered. It has
yeah.
triggered an emotional response, an emotional response that may not get you the outcome that you really want.
So if I could just touch your kingdom assignment, when you talked about your hardships that you went through in 2011, you talked about the ministry that God gave you, and you talked about, I see here, the Hill Ministry, the gems, and you talked about different things that God gave you. So your kingdom assignment is to come in and break up some uh, stuck stuff, some things where girls are stuck, and reinvent or recalibrate, where they're lost. They've gotten them off track some kind of way. Your assignment, you are planted in this earth for this time in this season. I want to say something about the imprint and the fingerprint in the back behind you,
Mhm.
if you don't mind. The imprint, or the, you don't have to move. That's a, to me, it identifies the fingerprint of God. That's God's fingerprint. If you want to elaborate on that, but I just see it, when I saw it, it just touched me in a way where it showed me he has his fingerprint on every single one of us. And even though we know each fingerprint, our own, is distinctly different. Everybody has a different fingerprint. He has a different fingerprint and his own on every single one of us, and every single one of the young girls, women that you speak to is so different. I always say we are more alike than we're different, or I'm not better than you. I'm just different, because we are. But his fingerprint is on us, and he cares about us. And that fingerprint on me or on you, it makes the difference of how he deals with us. And that it just blessed me the way you keep going back to him. You keep going back to how he's the one who is the saving grace for everything that you're doing. So it's really blessing me. So
Lord,
keep
for
talking.
that. When I had came up with the name to my personal book, Imprints from the Past,
Hmm.
and it is because every event in our lives makes an imprint on our memories, on our emotions,
Yeah.
uh, and anything can make an imprint. And an imprint is something, of course, that is pressed in deeply and it makes a print, it leaves a mark. And of course, God, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
we will allow Him to make the imprint upon us with His words and with His love and with His care and with His graciousness and His kindness and His righteousness and His peace, imagine how much more well off we will be.
Hmm.
So, yes, there's so many imprints, emotional, the one from God. We can create new ones,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
I
but yeah.
also, too, Shantae, when you talked about I was not beautiful, you didn't feel like you were pretty, unpretty when you were younger. I feel, and you can correct me or share just a little bit about, I think that there's going to be a point or a space with every young lady that you encounter, how you're going to pull out her beauty, because beauty is so, is not what we see on the outside. It's so deep. It's so deep. And we all have this beauty on the inside that needs to come out. It needs to be identified. And I pray that God gives you everything you need for that ability to start to, because not only the young girls, but the older women need to be able to identify with this as well. Because when you were talking about the book, that book looks like it would probably really relate to the younger women. But as you're talking, as you're speaking, you can relate to me. You can talk to me. Okay, so let's keep moving, because this is our last little part, because it's going to talk about your contribution. Tell me your contribution to us, to the world. So we talked about your purpose, your kingdom assignment, and now your contribution.
Just like with the book, as you said, it is for younger girls, but I also am doing an ebook, Destination Confidence, and it is a step-by-step guide for teen girls.
Hmm.
So, that it will be another contribution that I can make. But the main thing, I'm keeping the main thing, and that is really how we talk to our young girls. Because so often we want to put them down for what they have on or what they haven't done, or all of maybe our expectations of them. And the bottom line is, how about let's pour into them?
Yes.
I know that even my mom, she always says, "Hey, beautiful," you know. And even upcoming, I'm going to do a conference called Too Pretty to Play Small. And the bottom line is I'm just going to be just hello, gorgeous. Hello. Who can be sad when you say hello, gorgeous? That just makes someone feel something. It invokes something within them that you love them, that you see them, that you want to be a part of all that they are. And we all need to practice that. Let's compliment before we don't even put down. Let's compliment, and then we can work on the little things that maybe we can help them with. But also let Chris do some of that work. We don't have to do all of that work at once.
Yeah.
Just come in love. and he will touch them in the places that are crooked because
Mm.
he makes all crooked places straight.
Yeah, I've run into some young ladies in high school, middle school, high school, that you share that, hey, gorgeous, or hey, pretty lady, or hey, and they're so angry that they don't even want to be identified as hey, beautiful, hey, gorgeous. So there's a whole lot of um hitting, like rocks that need to be broken up. They're
And
so
break it up. We can't give up. We can't
right.
give up.
But I'm just saying there's a lot of pain, and I believe that everything that you're talking about, the purpose, the kingdom assignment, and the contribution, and the love, that whole light that I feel emanating from this conversation is going to break through some things that have been seemingly um, unable to get through, unable to get through for our young girls. And I believe if we start getting to them early, don't wait till they get to be already, imbued, tainted. Get them while they're little, while they're growing like babies, like growing up, and start to pour into them those same things that you're talking about. um, Seanté, this is to me just absolutely powerful. What other just before we get off, what other little nuggets you have before I get to talk about where we can reach you and all that? Just tell us a little something that you want to leave with our young girls or the audience.
I just want to let everyone know that if all of us are in touch with some little girl somewhere, and all I want to say is just keep going back. Even if you don't get a response, even if they don't react the way you think they should, even if they appear like they don't want to be bothered,
Yeah.
just keep showing up because so many people have given up on them.
Mm,
So many have.
yeah.
So many have walked away. Oh, I don't like your attitude. And
Hmm.
so they think you're going to leave too. But if we show them, I'm still going to greet you with grace, with kindness, and with love. And there, I have space for you.
Yeah.
If you will allow me, I have space for you.
Yes. Yes. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I have a granddaughter who's 15, and oh, I want to say this because that's one of the reasons why I asked you what age, what was that age group? Because around that age, like 12 to 18 or 12, that there's a middle group right there that gets lost in the sauce. We deal with the little babies, and then we deal with the young adults who's like 20 and so on, and but that there's a group in there that gets lost. So when you talked about that age group, I'm sure that impact is going to be powerful because they're the ones that get seemingly forgotten. So yes, I'm excited about. Are you going to be going to different schools? Are you going to, you feel like?
Plan. I will go where God sends me. How about that?
Do you see that?
I have a plan, but if God has a plan, I'm with it.
Okay, well, I'm excited. I'm excited about where God's going to take you, wherever your feet tread, you will possess that land. That's the word of God. So I'm excited about it as well. So Seanté, tell us, give us some information about how we can reach you. Give us some information, emails, phone numbers, or whatever that might be that we can get back in touch with you. Some of these mothers on here who will look at this later will want to say, please give me some insight. Help me help my daughter.
Sure.
Give us some ways that we can reach you.
All right, I'm going to say it quickly, and I'm glad we're at the end because I realized I didn't plug up my laptop. But it is theimprintimpact.com.
Hmm.
The email address is info at theimprintimpact.com. And you can find me on all social media channels, on Instagram and Facebook. I'll venture over to TikTok a little bit later, but not right now.
Okay, so give it to us one more time.
Theimprintimpact.com is the website.
Hmm.
Info at theimprintimpact.com is the email address.
Okay.
And then on social media handles the Imprint Impact as well.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you, Miss
You're welcome.
Seanté Hunt, the Impact Imprint LLC. Absolutely phenomenal. I just look for you in all over the place in at Amazon, on in the bookstores, in different locations where we can hear the what you're doing, how you are actually impacting these young women, and seeing them grow, seeing them be inspired by what you have to say. And I'm excited about it. So I look forward to your book. I look forward to your ebook. I look forward to how you're going to do what you do. And I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for what you have to share. So thank you so much for being my guest. Thank
Thank you
you.
for the opportunity. You all have a wonderful day. Thank
You
you.
too. Thank you.
Bye bye.